It takes a lot to shock me these days, but here we go. The Telegraph newspaper report that a 17-year-old girl, an amateur footballer with suspected autism, faces a 12-match ban for asking an adult transgender opponent, that's a male playing football in a women's team, "Are you a man?" The charges, we're told, breach the FA Code of Conduct. Do they indeed? This poor girl, who obviously has a passion for football and is trying to keep herself fit and healthy and enjoys competing with other women, may be kept off the field for 3 months for offending someone born male and who, it's reported, still has a beard. God knows what else they're packing, more than shin pads, I fear. This young woman raised concerns about the risk of getting hurt as a 17-year-old girl playing against a biological male who was bigger than her and very physical as a player, adding that she did not want to get dangerously injured right before the start of a new season. The team was charged after a complaint was made about her via Kick It Out, an England-based anti-discrimination watchdog, which has done great work against the evil of racism, but which shouldn't be sacrificing the integrity or safety of women's football in the name of inclusion. The girl has had to deny being transphobic. Of course she has. She's currently being tested for autism. But why has that even been brought into this conversation? It's not relevant. I suppose the implication is sometimes people with autism struggle to filter out their thoughts. Well, that's a good thing, because there is nothing that this young woman said that was wrong. Autistic or not, her honesty and courage shames the rest of us, who all too often keep quiet about these things, wanting to stay out of trouble and hoping that all of this blows over, which of course it won't. Now, I have trans friends who deserve support, love, respect and equality under the law. There are trans people. They are precious human beings like everyone else who feel that they are in the wrong body. It's not easy. But the facts don't care about your feelings. And the anti-scientific mantra now that men are women and that women are men has serious legal and practical implications, one of which is setting back women's rights by 100 years. And aside from the philosophical arguments, it's incredibly dangerous for biological men to participate in women's sports, and it's deeply unfair too, as records are smashed and real women who have often been training and making huge sacrifices since they were little girls, now being denied trophies, medals and places on the podium, making way for a biological male who now feels like a woman. It's like the ECB, who are going to allow biological men who identify as female to play in amateur women's cricket. Would you want a biological male launching a rock-hard leather cricket ball in your daughter or sister's direction? Someone is going to get hurt. Someone is going to get killed. At the heart of all of this is the malignant lie that you can change your sex, something handsomely dismissed by the world-leading fertility expert Professor Robert Winston on the BBC's Question Time programme.
I'll say this categorically, that you cannot change your sex. Your sex actually is there in every single cell in the body. You have a chromosomal sex, you have genetic sex, you have hormonal sex, you have all sorts of different kinds of psychological, brain sex, they're all different.
This isn't a trivial issue. This isn't a marginal issue. This is not a confected culture war. This is not a right-wing conspiracy. This is about safety, fairness, common sense and the truth. This is women once again being dominated and bullied by men, the oldest story in history. The only balls on a women's football pitch should be the ones you kick. Shocking story. A 17-year-old girl who suspected of having autism has said to a biological male playing in a women's team, "Are you a man?" Well, plot spoiler, it is a biological male. Her question was valid. She faces a 3-month ban from the woke football authorities. I'm not having it. I've rarely been this angry, but let me know if you disagree. gbnews.com/your say. OK, folks, let's hear from tonight's top pundits. Business and geopolitics commentator, Dr. Roger Gewolb, author and academic, Dr. Lisa Mackenzie, and broadcaster and model, Precious Muir. Precious, your reaction to a possible 3-month ban for a woman saying to a man, "Are you a man?"
I think it's, I think it's quite sad that this is the world that we're living in right now. I think it's a fair question. I think it's a fair question from this young woman because it's a contact sport. And when it's a contact sport like, you know, football, boxing, whatever, you need to have those kind of questions asked. And if she said it to this individual, maybe in a private setting, I'm not sure her delivery and how she said it. Was it in the pitch in front of everyone? I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, she has the right to answer those questions, ask those questions, definitely. OK, I mean, Lisa, the bottom line is that we've got a changing world now. There are people who have body dysmorphia. Trans people are some of the most victimised in our society. And all the football authorities are trying to do is make sure that people who have body dysmorphia, who have gender dysphoria, actually, feel included and can belong.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think that I would say that most of us do not want to go out and upset people. We don't want to offend them. We don't want to misgender. That's not what we're aiming to do. But I do think when it comes to, as Precious has said, contact sports, this does have to be treated differently because of safety. I follow on social media Sharon Davis, who has done a fantastic campaign.
Olympic swimmer.
Yeah, and she's done a fantastic campaign.
She's not an Olympic swinger, by the way.
Olympic swimmer. And she's...
I don't know, but I private line.
But, well, she... Oh, Mark.
I've thrown you off course now.
She's done it again.
But she's a hero for women's rights.
She is, and she really... And she makes the point. She does, as you've said, is she plays the ball and not the man or the woman. She talks about women's safety, fairness, and also women's opportunities within sport. And so she plays... So I don't know how... That is unreasonable. I don't know in any sort of terms that would be unreasonable. So that means, you know, if you are a transgender woman and you're playing in a team with biological women, I don't... You know, if one of those women asks you a question about that, I'm not sure why that would be insulting.
Is there a question of fairness as well? Because you mentioned the safety, but what about medals and trophies?
Fairness,
and records?
Yeah, fair and a fairness. You know, it's hard enough for women. It's hard enough for us.
Yeah, we don't get enough. We don't get enough awards as it is, and then you've got men who have transitioned now into women, taking the awards away from women. I just don't see this happening the other way around. How many born females are now in the NBA? Please tell me. There is none. How many born females who have transitioned to males are in athletic sports?
Or in the Premier League?
Where are they? Where are they?
Indeed.
It doesn't exist.
Although, Roger, if you said to somebody that's a trans woman that's transitioned from being a biological male to a woman, which is, recognised under UK equality laws, perhaps it's deeply offensive and very upsetting for that person to be approached and asked, "Are you a male?"
I think it depends on the person. I actually have a relative who's in exactly that position. I think it depends on the person and their sensitivities, but I think this whole topic, this whole conversation is nonsense because it's not what she asked. It's not the response. It's solely the irresponsibility of the football authorities to put that woman, that trans male, into this particular sporting situation. It's a question of where you draw the line. They wouldn't put this woman into a Thai kickboxing match.
They might do.
They might do. But I mean, the point is,
we saw women's boxing impacted
during women's boxing,
taekwondo.
But you have to draw the line.
Jiu-jitsu, they're in there.
Yeah, but you have to draw the line somewhere. Otherwise, women are going to get very hurt by stronger women who were males before. That's the fault here, not any of the rest of this.
Well, that's my great concern, is that someone's going to get hurt. Someone is going to get killed.